Hi. Good. My name is Suzanne+Atwell. I join everyone here today as a member of the Citizens for Sox Coalition and as a cheerleader for this phenomenal grassroots efforts to bring the Red Sox training to Sarasota. As I get to know many of my fellow team supporters, I realize how diverse the cast is in this community. This effort goes way beyond the love of baseball, New England, Red Sox Nation, and the love of Big Papi, although these are powerful motivators on their own. This is about searing a brand on our community whose impact will be immeasurable. Branding is emerging as a cultural and economic necessity and expectation for communities to survive and thrive. There is no argument that the Red Sox have huge brand recognition. When you add that to Sarasota's cultural and tourism status, you have a full-fledged personality. All the stakeholders make this a complicated exercise, getting everyone on board who has substantive issues with this. We are on our knees in this city and county with the state of the economy that has rendered us fiscally impotent. What better time to reap the benefits of an extraordinary, and I will submit, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to build community spirit, to expand our influence all over the country, and to shape the future of our city. However, the scenario is changing, and it keeps changing. The latest, Payne Park. That may ring warning bells for many who continue to feel disenfranchised from the process as it goes through these many incarnations. Having worked in the social service field for 15 years struggling with funding, I understand the community's hue and cry that we can use this money for many other needs we have. However, we need to be mindful of appropriate and legal uses for our tourist tax. Concerned citizens need to continue to ask questions and feel as though they're getting the straight story. I've asked many questions and I've learned a lot. I have walked Payne Park many times, as well as many other neighborhoods in our city, and I am concerned about that park. It feels like an underused and expansive area of land that is longing for a pick-me-up. Sarasota is struggling with budget deficits that are affecting park and other maintenance and development issues, and I do not want Payne Park to become a glaring example of how a park steeped in history becomes a white elephant on the landscape of our community. The purchase of this land may render a win-win situation whatever happens with the Red Sox. It will enhance the park and hopefully keep this historic gem alive.
Today we're really going to talk a little bit about the land adjacent to Payne Park, which has been a cause of some recent media speculation. The third party has contracted to purchase this land in Payne Park, and it is the intent of that party to assign these contracts to Sarasota County. And in anticipation of this action, a Memorandum of Understanding, or MOU, has been drafted between Sarasota County and the City of Sarasota. So we will be discussing that memorandum today. The purpose of the memorandum is to set forth the terms and the conditions for the payment of the Payne Park parcels. I want to briefly review what those parcels are, so you'll just to orient you, this area right here would be the Payne Park tennis courts. This is, of course, down here, Washington Boulevard and Laurel Street, and the parcels in question are labeled A, B, and C on the diagram. The county does own the top northernmost parcel already, and the city owns this parcel here to the east of the parcels and the north of one of the parcels that are being considered for purchase. Basically, there are three separate owners of the parcels currently, and there are actually 8 lots that comprise the three areas of A, B, and C. John+Herrli is here to answer any questions with regard to due diligence or appraisal of the property there.
You got an oral appraisal, not a written one?
Well, let me just explain. From the time the contracts were signed, we have a very short due diligence period. We got started in it. We are working very diligently to get everything done. As of today, I've gone around, I've picked up copies and preliminary drafts of due diligence that was available as recently as like 11 o'clock on my way downtown. What I had spoken to the professional staff that we've hired to do the due diligence, I told them by today I need to have at least a verbal report, not necessarily a written one in hand, so I could provide that information to you. A lot of the reports will be finalized. There just wasn't sufficient time to write everything in the final report. Some of it is calculations, and they can come up with a number as to the range of value. Then it's putting the hard copy together. I told them I didn't need the hard copy. I needed to have the numbers and their determinations as their due diligence as it stood today. And so that's what I wanted to do today, is come and give you an update on the most current information we have available.
Which will be followed up by the written report.
Yes, it will. Environmental Phase 1 report has been completed, and it showed low levels of asbestos in Parcel A, in buildings in Parcel A and Parcel B. It was estimated that the cost of removing this little bit of asbestos that's in the flooring is roughly $2,000. In addition to that, in Parcel A, they found potential evidence of an existing former heating oil tank, which may have been there, so we're doing additional testing on that. Like I say, I'm telling you what has been done as today, and additional sets of tests have been ordered, but we have not had time to get those results back. Parcel B, they found there was evidence of maybe a small kerosene spill, and additional inspection is being done on that, investigations on that. Parcel C, which was the old gas station, in addition to the identified petroleum product adjacent to the tanks that were removed, there was also some concerns that additional tests are going to be done for some old hydraulic lifts that were there to check for any kind of leakage. There was also a oil/water separator, which may have solvents, so we're also double checking to make sure there's nothing found in that. And also in the old, I think the vehicle inspection, they had like a drop-down pit area where you could do the inspections. That area has been backfilled and concreted over, and so we want to do some double checking there. So we are doing these tests. We hope to have them, all the field work completed by today, so we can get the results back to make sure, are there any other contaminants on the site that we can reasonably find. So that's where we are on the due diligence. And I can't at this point tell you what that cost would be, because I do not know what level, if any, contaminants will be found.
But I think I saw in the legislative update from the last session that they did re-up the Superfund cleanup fund, which might be available.
And that we'd have to look at, because some of these products may be eligible, some of them may not, depending on the type of materials. Also, we hired an independent appraisal firm to prepare an appraisal report on the fair market value of the entire site. In the contracts, all the parcels are contingent upon a simultaneous closing, so they are all connected. The appraiser gave me a verbal report late yesterday on the entire site, which the appraised value is 7% less than the total purchase price.
So what you're saying is if you bought these properties individually, they would appraise at 20 to 30% less?
I'm not saying the value would not be as great.
Well, the value is determined by what somebody would pay for, you know,
Right.
what you do using comparables.
But if you did them as single lots, individual standalone lots, the value would be less than if you did them as collectively, because collectively there's value added.
I understand. So what you're saying is if you appraise the properties individually, you're anticipating they would appraise, once you subtract the 8% that you say the whole thing is under, you're saying it would individually still appraise at 20 to 30% less as individual parcels.
Well, I don't know the exact number, but it would be less than as an entire site. But here again, the fact is that these properties are purchased as an assemblage. The contracts are clearly written that they're contingent upon them all closing. Therefore, the assumption in the appraised value that you're buying the entire site is a valid approach for the value of the entire site being purchased.
We need to talk about dollars because you sort of lost me in all these
sorry.
percentages. So we're looking at $4,785,000. And so with the appraisal, what are we looking at?
The range of the appraisal is $4,470,000.
So $35,000. No, how much is that?
What do you mean?
$5,000.
335.
Right. 335.
And that's based on them together or individually?
Collectively as an entire
Assembled.
site. Because that is how we're purchasing them. We are purchasing them in if the contracts were not contingent upon a simultaneous closing, then I would say that would not be a valid assumption. But the fact is we're buying them collectively. That's how they should be valued.
So the appraisal is lower or higher than what we're paying?
The appraisal is 7% less than the purchase price.
I just want that for me and the public.
I'm sorry if I'm
okay.
running through this kind of fast.
You take your time. We have all afternoon and evening.
Okay.
So when will we get that in writing?
The finished report should be coming before the end of the week. I'm trying to get hard copies on everything before the end of the week.
So
like
we're
I say.
supposed to vote before we get it.
Well, I'm representing you today based on that information and verification from the appraiser. That is his number. He just did not have the time to do the calculation, get me the number, and provide me a hard copy. Just like this, we did get the hard copy on the Phase 1 environmental audit. I do not have the second Phase 2. I have a preliminary survey, like I say, I literally picked up on my way down here. We just received the title insurance information commitment. That looks clean. I don't have all of the leases in my hand. So, like I say, this is a very rapidly evolving closing, and we haven't had a lot of time, and I would love to be able to have that all to you. But a lot of times we buy property, we do our due diligence afterwards. Today, I wanted to come and give you as much due diligence so you would feel comfortable with your vote, knowing also that as we continue with our process and we get more information, I will keep the county administrator advised as to the outcome of our due diligence.